May I now call upon stage His Excellency Yogi Shri Amrit Desai, a pioneer of yoga in the West. Born in Halol, Gujarat, India in 1932, disciple of Guru Babuji, Gurudev Yogi Amrit Desai is recognized as one of the pioneers of the authentic teachings of yoga in the West. Even after studying engineering, his spiritual mission drove him to begin learning and teaching yoga, and that rapidly became his life's true mission. He is one of the earliest of the wave of Indian gurus who went to the IYS and is the last living master from that initial wave, followed with establishment of centers for personal growth and transformation such as Kripalu Ashram in 1972 and Amrit Yoga Institute in 2000. With his in-depth teachings of yoga and trainings as an exponent of spiritual heritage, these centers quickly grew to one of the largest yoga centers in America. His Excellency Yogi Shri Amrit Desai has been honored and bestowed recognition by many as a spiritual teacher who has played significant roles in disseminating the ancient heritage of India worldwide. In 1986, Gurudev was honored with the title Jagatacharya, World Teacher. He has also been recognized with titles including Doctor of Yoga and the Vishwa Yoga Ratna awarded by the President of India. So friends, put your hands together for a very cordial and warm welcome to Guru Amrit Desai on stage.
Sadagamaya Tamasurma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It is a very special privilege to be present in such a beautiful celebration of yoga, and particularly Pandit Radheshyam, who has given his lifetime of dedication to create such an event, which is what we need to happen everywhere in the world. And this is the manner in which we represent yoga is very important, because what is missing today in the world of yoga is the true heart and spirit of yoga. Actually, I come from the most ancient lineage of yoga masters, of Lord Shiva himself, Lord Lakulish lineage, who appeared on this planet and initiated my Guru, Swami Kripalavananda, and gave him the secrets of Kundalini awakening. And when he practiced particular pranayam, the Kundalini was awakened. And the yoga was born that he had never learned from anybody. And that is the most important secret I want to talk about, how yoga was born. We all know that Veda was born directly from the deepest level of integrated state of samadhi of the great yogis. But most people do not know that yoga was also born from the deeply integrated state of samadhi. And I happen to be the disciple of a master who was initiated by Lord Shiva himself. Sounds a little bit off for some people who do not know. My guru, after awakening of his Kundalini, he observed complete silence for 12 years, practiced yoga meditation 3 times a day, Kundalini yoga meditation, which is not the same as sitting still and meditating. 3 times a day, every day, 10 hours a day, for 35 years without missing any moment whatsoever, ever. And the miracle that I saw is the secret of how yoga was revealed, not learned. It is not a historical birth of yoga where somebody who discovered the secrets of yoga. No. Yoga can be born, and it has no trace of the past. It has no future that in which we can discover even more secrets. This is not the way yoga works. Yoga can be revealed to anyone without ever having learned yoga from anybody. And that is what happened to my guru and to myself. When he practiced yoga, as taught by Lord Shiva himself, 20th incarnation, Lord Lakulish, his body performed hundreds of yoga postures that he had never learned from any book. He was guided to perform some of the secrets of mudras, like Khechari mudra. That is, there is no evidence that people try to do it mechanically. Awakening of the third eye is such a secret that we read about everywhere. And all these secrets are born when Kundalini is awakened from within. That is just the way the Vedas were revealed to humanity. And it is called Sanatan Dharma. It is from the same source yoga was born. So when I came to United States in 1970, I came to United States in 1960 rather, I did not know yoga at all. Only yoga that I knew was when I went to gymnasiums and I saw the chart of yoga and I practiced yoga from that chart. But when I came, there is something so unique happened to me that I was directed to teach yoga. I went there as a student of art. I'm also interested in art. And during that time, something happened that my guru had given me Shaktipat, and out of which I had an experience of going spontaneously into the practice of yoga postures that I had never practiced. When the Kundalini gets awakened, the mind takes the back seat, and prana, the innate intelligence which revealed the Vedas and the ancient knowledge that we call Sanatan Dharma, begins to be born from within without ever having learned from it. And that is the secret that I discovered. But that secret didn't come to me until 1970. I was teaching yoga in America from 1960 all the way to 1966. I graduated from the college in 1963. I was a designer in the company in USA until 1966. I started teaching yoga in 1966 full time. By 1970, I had 150 yoga classes, taught all over Philadelphia and adjoining states. And I had trained 50 yoga teachers. Why am I saying this? To tell you that I was teaching yoga, but I did not know the secret of yoga, the secret that Patanjali talks about. So one morning, I was doing yoga practice with my wife and 2 disciples. And in the middle of guiding and doing yoga practice in a formal way, that morning something happened, something else took over my body. And there was the promptings from the prana that guided me to move into different postures. As I was driven and guided into it, I was thinking, I said, I'm beginning to do postures myself. I stopped guiding them. I see, what are they going to feel about it? But the inner guidance was so profound and so demanding that I could not go in my mind. Means my body was performing spontaneous yoga postures. And my body went into so many different kind of postures that I had never seen. I was aware of it while I was doing it, and I was progressively guided into deeper and deeper levels of meditations. And I was so completely in deepest level of meditation. At the same time, my body was doing postures. And out of which I discovered the real secret of yoga, that yoga can be practiced. It can be paradoxical when you can be in meditation, in motion. You can enter into dynamic stillness, and that is the paradoxical presence. And that is how yoga was originally born. So when I first time when I was with my guru, I was only 16 years old, and when his Kundalini was awakened, I was serving him very closely. I was so fortunate to serve him so closely. And at that time, originally he was about maybe 250 pound weight. And when Kundalini was awakened, Kundalini made him to do so many hundreds of postures. He became so thin that when he came to my hometown, I could not even believe. But that is when he took out some of the photographs, and I was so close to him, and he said, all these postures were done automatically. I didn't understand a word about it. How could it be done automatically? And so he said, this photographer from Rajpipla town took these pictures. So I was very curious. I went to Rajpipla and met this photographer. I said, how was this done? He says, I was so amazed myself. He was in such deep meditation while he was doing postures. So I want you to understand the origin of yoga. Somebody wrote article in America about origin of yoga, such as foolish things about it. They do not know what yoga is and why yoga is so Sanatan. Why yoga has become so modern, accepted so totally by modern science, physiology, psychology, and philosophy, as it was depicted several thousand years ago. And that is what says that its origin is Sanatan and eternal. And only when you can enter into that Sanatan, the last part of that prayer is lead me from unreality to reality. Lead me from time-bound ego mind to timeless being that I am. And that is the purpose of yoga. So purpose of yoga is, Patanjali says, it is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. And he said just one sentence. And in that one sentence, he described that the only and the ultimate obstacle that keeps us from being an Atman in tune with Paramatman, that union is ego mind. And therefore, he said, if you can witness the modifications of mind, you are moving beyond the ultimate and the obstacle that keeps us from being who we are. And that is the practice of yoga that I eventually developed. By 1970, I had the Yoga Society of Pennsylvania that I started, became the largest in America in those days, 1970, when there was hardly any yoga known in the West. And then it grew so much that I established 2 ashrams, and it grew more and more. And then finally I established Kripalu Yoga Center in the Massachusetts. It became so big, we had 350 full-time resident volunteer staff, and we used to have 300 guests. That became one of the largest yoga centers in America. Why? Because this yoga that came through me, when I knew the secret of yoga is how to reconnect with prana, the life force that is under the domination of ego mind. And that is the whole practice, how to surrender our ego mind so that prana can take over, the divine Shakti can perform and perform the miracles in healing. Because in healing, what is most important is the divine Shakti is the healer. We call the wisdom of the body. And when we practice yoga, we must learn how to enter into integrated state. Ordinarily, the sickness is considered to be the conflict that exists within us. So when what we are thinking, what we are doing, and what we are feeling is in perpetual conflict. So unless we learn how to bring it into integrated space, unified state, so that when we practice Hatha Yoga, we are integrated not at the end of it, but all along the way. And that's the secret of how to enter the yoga. So I say, practice yoga with integrative intention. Every time your mind goes off, enters into conflict with where you are, what you are doing, and who you are, you bring it back to the witness awareness, which is the doorway to integrated state of real practice of yoga. And I'm so happy to be among such a large group of practitioners, great yogis, and people who have performed great miracle of spreading this yoga to the whole world. I honor them all, and particularly Radha Shyam, who has brought us all here. Thank you very much.